So hi everyone, this is Jane from Proven Winners Color Choice. And today I'm in our nursery landscape on a beautiful spring day. To give you some context, I'm next to a laced up elderberry and it hasn't bloomed yet, but there's some nice buds on it. Today's a great day, but I'm gonna go all the way back to last August when I went to the Cincinnati Zoo and Botanic Garden. Now, this was August and it was during COVID and it was in Cincinnati. So it was hot and it was humid, but it was also a great time to go to the Cincinnati Zoo and Botanic Garden because they've done a great job of planting their facility so it looks good even when it is hot and humid as Cincinnati can get. If you haven't been to the Cincinnati Zoo and Botanic Garden, you really need to go. Sure, they're known for a certain hippo who's very charismatic, but they also have wonderful plantings. And they really are on a mission to make these plantings accessible to visitors and to people who visit them digitally on their website. So with that, we had some nice tours of the facility, met the awesome people there, and saw the great plantings. So everyone knows that there are animals in the zoo, and a lot of the design at the zoo is based around the animals, keeping them happy and healthy and safe. But zoos are also places for people to come to obviously see the animals, but also just to experience a really nice space. So with that in mind, Steveholtz, the director of horticulture at the Cincinnati Zoo and Botanic Garden, he has to choose plantings that are very functional. Obviously they have to look good, but these plants also often serve a purpose. It could be to keep people from walking where they shouldn't, which is a hazard at any public facility, but as you can imagine at a zoo, sometimes it's really important. Also, to frame the vistas in the zoo so people's eyes are directed towards what we want them to see, be it a water feature or an animal. And so he chooses plants that will do this, that fit the space, both in terms of size and shape, and also suitability just in general for the area. So he's going to give us some good looks at why he chooses a particular variety for that space and how that really makes the experience of touring the zoo better for everyone.
Hello, my name is Steveholtz. I'm with the Cincinnati Zoo and Botanical Garden, the director of horticulture. And here at the Botanical Garden and Zoo, we have a lot of people that coming through the park. This is in front of one of our restaurants. We have very difficult spots where, in this case, people kept on just cutting through very quickly. So we actually put up a little post and rope, little gate barrier, and they'd step right over it and onto the plants. We put in this great little new plant called diervilla Kodiak Black, and it has done a phenomenal job. It kept people from cutting through. It's very simple to keep it at a manageable size, and it really shows off the area quite well. And it blooms throughout the summer, and the new growth comes out just spectacular. So it's a plant that's going to work for you. It's drought tolerant, it's easy to grow, and it fills in very quickly, which is very important here at the zoo. Another plant we have right next to it is just the hydrangea. Oak leaf hydrangea is one of our favorite plants for that as well. Very useful plant, part shade, and honestly in full sun, if you can keep the water on it, it does quite well. But usually in a protected, part shaded condition is the best. But it too is a plant that'll keep people from cutting through beds. So these are two good examples of using a plant to keep people out of where you want them to go. These hydrangea are called little lime. They're a dwarf form, and something that we like to use at the zoo are viewing locations. So we want the people as they walk through the path to be able to see over top of the shrubs into vistas that we'd like them to see. And sometimes you get the paniculata hydrangeas that, they're just a little too big and bold and tall. This is little lime. Little lime stays nice, low, colorful, and Again, it fits that small shrub category that and gives you a lot of bang for your buck. And that's one of the reasons that we're so impressed with this plant. Very quick grower and lots of color at the middle of the summer, which is our biggest attendance time period. We've talked about several hydrangeas, the oak leaves, the paniculatas. Another form is the arborescens. That's one of our native hydrangeas. And one thing I like about this one is called Wee White. Wee White is really bold flowers, big flowers, but it's much smaller, much more manageable. And when this fills in after a few years, it will still be under the railing. So you'll be able to see right over top of this hydrangea. And just an excellent variety on the arborescens type. Wee White is one of our new favorites, I think. Well, sometimes in design, you need low plant material that you can see over. Other times you just want to screen out things that are ugly. And this is one of what we call our event spaces. It looks like kind of a giant tent, and that's exactly what it is. So we wanted to do something that screened as much of that out as possible. And one of my all-time favorite shrubs right now is a plant called Calycanthus Aphrodite. It is just a beautiful plant, glossy, large foliage. It can take full sun, it can take part shade, and it blooms. The blooms that are on here, there's so many blooms that keep going and going, at least 10 to 12 weeks this year. And it also hits that, late May, June, July, August, kind of that midsummer time again, which is, again, popular when you're out enjoying your decks and your patios. And so not only is it a great screen, but if you had a patio or a deck that's elevated, you look down on the flowers and they just keep looking at you and crying, hey, cut me for a cut flower. It's just a phenomenal plant. And like you said, we used probably about 3 to 5 in here. So it didn't take many, and we put them fairly close together and let them fight it out. And they blend into looking like one massive shrub. And actually right next to it is another great plant. This is Invincibelle, the Hydrangea Invincibelle, which is the largest white flowering just bloom that you'd ever want to see. And despite what you hear about those, the big white showy flowers don't attract any pollinators, well, this one certainly does. But you have to be observant and look, and you'll see all kinds of pollinators on it. One question that's been asked is what pollinates Calycanthus Aphrodite? So I'm going to throw it back to you guys, and you guys are going to have to tell me, because we are noticing that something's pollinating it. Sometimes it's not the flashy things that pollinate. Sometimes it's probably flies and things that we don't think about. But in nature, in a natural ecosystem, we need to help all of our friends. And so that always works out well. But my best suggestion for a shiny, glossy, 10 to 12 foot, beautiful, blooming summer plant, Calycanthus Aphrodite. It's a great one.